think we all recognize that this is a very important project, so I'm going to explain my reasons in some detail. I will be supporting this project and voting for this project. And the principal reason for my support is that the Old Town area desperately needs more residents living there 24 hours a day. And I believe this before the Kimsey project came to the fore. In my conversations with local residents and business owners only intensified my belief. If you haven't walked this area lately, you should. You'll see many boarded up storefronts. Over the last 6 years, I've seen a marked decline in this area. One of our favorite stores on Marshall Way closed up several years ago, and it was one of our favorite places to find gifts, and it's no longer there. Many smaller merchants have already left, and those that remain are having a hard time hanging on. There's a high turnover in leases, and I've spoken to many of the businesses in this area, and we've heard many of them on the comments tonight. While we have many tourists in the area around Fifth Avenue and the canal, my observations tell me that much of this foot traffic does not move south beyond Fifth Avenue or west beyond Scottsdale. It simply doesn't penetrate to the interior of this quadrant. If you find yourself at the intersection of Craftsman and Court and 3rd Avenue, you're probably a tourist who is lost, because there's no reason why anyone would want to go there. So the solution to this problem is to bring more residents to the area. It might not be the complete solution, but Old Town will not thrive and recover without more foot traffic and higher-end shops that depend on permanent residents. Now, as many people have reminded me, the current zoning for this spot is 36 feet. If my understanding is correct, I think it was given that zoning in 1951, which is 70 years ago. And I take zoning restrictions very seriously. They represent the considered judgment of the city and its citizens at some point in time about how the city ought to look. And those zoning rules should not be thrown aside lightly and shouldn't be changed absent very good reasons. But I think we have a good reason here. The zoning requested here is for a planned block development. And one of the purposes of this type of zoning is to create a 24-hour community downtown. And I think this type of zoning is appropriate. The general plan and the character area plan both call for residents in this area, but we don't have any right now, or we don't have very many. So I think this is completely consistent with the general plan and the character area plan. Now, during the recent campaign, I stated that I was in favor of smart growth, or what I called thoughtful growth. And what did I mean by that? First, I meant that not all projects get automatically approved. Tonight, we've heard from a number of people who have never seen a project they didn't like, and frankly, I don't listen to their comments that much. The key to me in every case is what's in the best interest of Scottsdale. And that requires considering many factors. For me, these include what type of use is being offered. Is that use good for Scottsdale? Is the proposed location a good location for that type of use? Does the project meet Scottsdale's high standards of design? Does the project promote or detract from the character of Scottsdale? Are the citizens in favor of it? In my view, this project passes all those tests. I've already explained my belief that this area needs more residents. The projects are likely to create a pedestrian pathway up and down Craftsman Court and Marshall Way, thereby bringing activity further south. And the pedestrian path also will create needed foot traffic down to Indian School. So it's a good location for this use. And is this the right place for this type of project? I think it is. As I just mentioned, it'll bring traffic farther south from Fifth Avenue. And this area does not present the best of Old Town, to say the least. It is not quaint, it is not Western. I would urge anyone concerned with this project to walk the area around the intersection of Craftsman Court and 3rd Avenue. It's a dead zone. And something I've discovered over the last month or two is there's always a lot of concern about parking in Scottsdale. But if you want to find parking, go to 3rd Avenue, because no one ever goes there, and you'll find plenty of parking spaces. And the buildings on this site do not contribute to the character of Scottsdale. In fact, they detract from it. The venue has been closed for some time, and the Howard Johnson Hotel does not show Scottsdale at its best. Now, there's been a lot of talk about whether this is a reincarnation of some of the prior projects, and if it were, I wouldn't be voting for it. The design of this project is better than some of the recent proposals. It includes required stepbacks along Indian School Road, so there won't be a vertical wall along Indian School Road. These stepbacks will provide better sight lines. The zoning requires balconies and patios, so there will be life and activity along the front of the building. And the building offers a mix of material to increase interest. Some of the recent projects I've criticized for blocking access to the canal, featuring long massed buildings with vertical walls devoid of architectural interest. And none of those problems are presented in this project. So next I want to talk about height. The plan block development rules allow height up to 66 feet to the roof line. And the applicant here is requesting an application of the bonus provisions. The bonus requested is, I believe, 6 feet or about half a story up to 70 feet to the roof line. I've criticized the use of bonus provisions in the past, and I have even claimed that they're handed out like Halloween candy. Everybody gets one. But I think for the first time that I've seen, the application of the bonus provisions is warranted here for two reasons. First, the requested bonus is only 6 feet, less than 10% of the total height, or about half of a story. Second, this project actually does present important public benefits. Most notable is the protection of the Haver Building, and second is the pedestrian gateway from 3rd Avenue to Indian School Road. Will this building obstruct views? Not really. I've walked up and down this area, and for most of the length of Indian School Road, you can't see Camelback Mountain. At the intersection of Scottsdale and Indian School, you can get a glimpse of the tip of Camelback Mountain, which will probably be lost if this project is built. And that's a fact that I've taken into consideration in thinking this over. These buildings will have a maximum height of 72 feet to the roof line. This is less than 1/2 the height of the Marquee, 1/2 the height of South Bridge 2, and half the height of the collection. Buildings in the surrounding area can go up to 36 feet, and the adjacent building to the east is that full 36 feet. I think a 2-to-1 ratio of height to the surrounding buildings is not out of line for a project which will offer the benefits of this. Now, some people have suggested that the developers here asked for 96 feet, hoping to get 72 feet. But that doesn't reflect the pattern of the past. In the past, the developers have never been shy for asking about every inch of the bonus height, and until now, they've always received it, even when their projects did not provide any particular benefit. So the voters did vote for a change last November, and they're getting it. We are not giving every inch of the bonus heights the way it's worked in the past. What about the effect on the character of Scottsdale? This building is on the south edge of the quadrant bounded by Scottsdale, Indian Bend, the canal, and Goldwater. So it's outside on the outside rim of this area. Is it higher than I would like? Yes, it probably is. It's not perfect, but it reflects a significant compromise from the original project. And I don't get to control who offers projects and where they offer them. Nobody's lining up to build a 36-foot building here. And frankly, if it was a 36-foot, another block of big apartments, I'm not sure I would really want that. I'd also like to emphasize one feature which has been negotiated by Councilmember Whitehead. Some prior development agreements have very long terms. And we have one development agreement which has absolutely no term at all. It extends into infinity, as far as I can tell. And that leaves the city at the mercy of developers who are subject to those development agreements. But Councilmember Whitehead has asked for a 5-year term in this agreement. And if the developers don't begin construction within that term, the zoning of the property reverts to the current zoning, and the Kimsey building continues to receive protection. On the issue of parking, as I understand it, this project provides more parking than the recently proposed revisions to the parking code. Parking is probably more an art of it than it is a science, and I think the parking is adequate here. And also, this project has agreed to prohibit short-term rentals of its units. And finally, I'd like to speak on the role of public opinion. Some of the people in this area have claimed that the residents of North Scottsdale or other people should have no say in what happens in this area. And I think even one of the commenters tonight said the same thing, that only the people who live down in that area get a say in what goes on. And I fundamentally disagree with that. Everyone who lives in Scottsdale gets to have a say in maintaining the character. And that includes this area, which is, presents the definition of our unique character. But I believe the people who live in the immediate area of a project should have a strong voice for 2 reasons. First, they have the best knowledge of what's needed in a particular area. And second, they have the most at stake in terms of their livelihood and investment. The people who live and work in this area have given compelling reasons why this is the right project. And finally, some people have claimed that this building creates a precedent for the future. And I can assure you it does not, at least in my view. It's a particular building which meets a particular need at a particular location and provides important public benefits. So not every project will replicate that combination. And so for that reason, I will be supporting the project. Thank you, Mayor Ortega.
Thank you.